all going through an emotional event, whether it's emotionally traumatic, is unique, and it depends on the person.
You'd have to prove that you were a victim of domestic violence to get that.
I would hope that anybody is now starting to be aware of signs of depression, and that people are really desperate and lonely at times.
So if someone brings proceedings against you without any evidence, you're going to have to defend it at your own cost.
Yes. General awareness of each other, that one of the things that causes emotional trauma is relationship breakdown.
Legal aid is something that the government provides. It's funding for clients that are eligible to cover their legal costs for advice or representation in court.
Thinking about wasted years, regret, trying to find your identity again after being a couple for so long. It's really hard.
If you have chosen to separate, I would assume you would not want that person to benefit in the event of your death.
Humans aren't designed to be islands. We need connection.
Here today we have Trauma Therapy by Trish. Maybe just start by telling us a bit about yourself.
Oh, thanks, Melanie. Thank you very much for inviting me today. All right, that's a good starting point, I guess. So I'm Trish Jarvis, business owner of Trauma Therapy by Trish, which was actually born in February 2022. I provide emotional wellbeing support services from age 4 to 104 in Coventry. But you can probably hear I'm an Essex girl, originally living in Coventry since 2001. I've got 2 young adult boys who are both on the autism spectrum, and I've had a really varied work life, but trained to be a teaching assistant after doing a period of homeschooling because school needs weren't being met. One of the schools I worked at across Coventry and Warwickshire over those years, I trained to be a drawing and talking practitioner. And the idea behind that was to support the behaviour of some children that were showing signs that they were traumatised by something. They were going through something. I left working in school in 2021 due to caring commitments and the strain on my own mental health. And I offered drawing and talking through my local church to 7 people, which was amazing. Saw the benefit, and then on New Year's Eve that year found out that there was a practitioner programme and I could be an independent practitioner, and it just seemed like everything had aligned.
Yeah. So what's the core mission then behind Trauma Therapy by Trish?
Right, so I got this straight off my website to double check, but to improve the mental well-being of adults and children in Coventry and Warwickshire. And that hopefully makes our community a happier, friendlier and safer place to be, and improves the academic outcomes and life chances for people locally, by offering access to local mental health support when they need it, rather than the huge waits that we see.
And it's a very different way, isn't it, of having therapy with drawing? It
is,
it's not as common.
That's right, and that's because drawing and talking means that you use both sides of the brain.
Right.
So the right hand side of the brain is accessed when you're drawing and being creative, and that is where emotional memories are stored pictorially. So people who have flashbacks and nightmares and things like that, those people really benefit from this because we're tapping into that side of the subconscious.
Brilliant. Okay. And how would you define trauma then in the context of a family breakdown or relationship difficulties?
Yeah. Okay. So trauma, firstly, if I can, is it's not an event. Emotional trauma is not an event. It's how your unique brain reacts to an event that was emotionally traumatic for you. So it's very, very tailored to you. And what affects one person may not affect another person, or will affect them differently. And there is no judgment on that, or there shouldn't be. Some of us are just genetically better equipped to cope with stuff. You know, it's in our genes. But also some of us have a lot more baggage to deal with over the years. You know, things happen that make it harder because we're just carrying too much. So I suppose when relationships break down, in my opinion and my experience, it's not easy for anybody. Not even the person who made the decision. It's still hard.
You're all grieving, aren't you?
Absolutely. relationships are emotional connections. So when they break, it hurts emotionally. Initially, I think there are quite often feelings of anger, denial, blame, shame, feelings of failure. I couldn't make this work. And I think also survival mode for a lot of people. Let's get the practicality sorted, the finances, where am I going to live, what we're going to do about the children. All those things take precedent before our actual feelings.
Yeah.
But I guess for adults, once the practicalities are dealt with, that's probably when the emotional trauma kicks in. It's a bit like the adrenaline rush when you're in an accident with your car. You deal with everything there and then, but afterwards is when you fall apart and have a little cry, thinking about wasted years, regret, trying to find your identity again after being a couple for so long. It's really hard.
Whilst dealing with loneliness as well, I imagine.
Yeah. But for children, big changes have happened too. And I think for them, the catalyst, so the actual breaking up, they had no say or control over. They might have later on about what happens next, but the actual thing that happened, they probably didn't even see coming either.
No.
So it's really hard. Everybody is experiencing loss, change and uncertainty. Those three words, I think, encapsulate it all. But children don't have the experience or the maturity to ascertain the truth from all the noise that's going on.
That, I think, is so important, because sometimes parents don't quite understand what it's like being in their children's shoes, finding the truth there. I think, there's no certainty. They're going to panic thinking they haven't got a bedroom with mum or dad, or little things are going to be huge to them.
Absolutely. It's their world, isn't it? They're their caregivers.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden that has changed, and that is huge. They often feel it's their fault and that they're unloved by one or both of their parents. Abandoned, big word, but actually that is how big it is for a child, and scared. Children are, though, one step removed from that breakup, if you think about it, because it isn't and it shouldn't be their relationship that is broken. It's the adult's relationship that is broken.
So why is it then that it usually is? Because I usually find that they'll take a side, they are actually then struggling to navigate.
They can take
future.
Sides. And sometimes children are very wise. First of all, from my own experience, my children had seen what was going on before the breakup. Sadly, children see and hear things whether we want them to or not just the ones that we want them to hear. And sometimes in an emotional state, we can say and do things to influence one side or the other. Not necessarily deliberately, but just because we're frustrated. And we're hurting. So, we can sometimes drag them in, which can influence them. But also, there's the age-old thing, isn't there? Daddy's little girl, mummy's little boy. If they'd already got a really strong attachment with one parent or the other, they're likely to stay that way until they learn differently, I think. I don't know.
So how can unresolved trauma then impact on someone's ability to navigate all of this during a separation? If you don't tackle trauma head on, how is it going to affect you?
So when we're emotionally or physically exhausted, it's really difficult to make decisions clearly. It's difficult to focus, to concentrate. Even, your memory is impaired. So that might mean that people agree to settlements that aren't necessarily right to them because they just can't cope. They are totally overwhelmed, no headspace left. And if trauma does remain unresolved for years in many cases, so for example, there could be a childhood trauma that resurfaces now because something else has happened and it's all just got too much. And chances are, you as a professional won't know that that's there. Even the potential ex-partner doesn't even know it's there. So we don't know what people are going through. But had they dealt with that a little bit sooner, they may be more able to cope now.
Okay, so how do you work then directly with solicitors? Have you worked with family solicitors before?
No. So this is new and exciting development for me. But it seems a really obvious step to take, especially when we consider the holistic approach that most family law firms try to promote now. We all want the best possible outcomes for our clients.
Yeah, and for the family.
Exactly. You know, for me, it does tend to be the whole family. So maybe it's about time we all started holding hands and doing that, you know, actually do that really joined up approach, not dissimilar to what we're seeing with the health service between physical health and mental health. We're trying to join it together. This is kind of doing the same thing, but in a different way.
So how would you see that collaboration working then?
So I think general awareness of each other and I guess I know that one of the things that causes emotional trauma is relationship breakdown. It's just one, you know, I can deal with lots of things. That's something that's your bread and butter that you're dealing with daily, and just being aware that actually trauma is going to affect how people progress through the legal system. You know, how quickly you might be able to get things done because they're on it, you know. Working together and just signposting to the experts in each situation is really important. So I wouldn't give legal advice.
No.
And I wouldn't expect you to necessarily give mental health advice, but you can signpost to the experts who do.
Yes, and I suppose you can't tell us what's happening because of client confidentiality.
Absolutely, that is 100% there. With everything I do, completely confidential within the remits of safeguarding. So obviously I deal with that side of things as well. But generally, I wouldn't share, you know, but if the referral has come from yourselves, then I'll know that that's what they're going through, whether they've told me or not. I will know that that's why.
And would you ever say to us, maybe we're at a difficult part of the legal process that's being disclosed through drawing or whatever, would you then be able to say it might be a good time just to give them a few weeks break, or can you not even say that?
Not with yourselves.
Right.
I might suggest, if I felt that was best for the client, I might suggest that they have that conversation with yourselves.
Right.
But I wouldn't come directly to you because that would be breaching their confidentiality. Yeah,
of course. Okay. So what signs should we look out for then as family lawyers that suggest that a client's struggling with trauma? Because they obviously come to us angry and upset, but the trauma sounds like it's taking it obviously a step forward. Or are you saying, do you think they're all going through a trauma because they're separating?
They're all going through an emotional event. Whether it's emotionally traumatic is unique.
Right.
And it depends on the person. And I do firmly believe quite often people will be dealing with the practicalities at the stage that they're with you, and you may not notice anything because they're masking it and they're just getting on with that. But I suppose the obvious signs are being overly emotional.
Okay.
Every time, not just the first time when they come and offload, but every time they have an appointment or pick up the phone with you, they are, you know, really emotional. Missed appointments or deadlines because they've got that lack of focus or concentration, or their memory is suffering as a result of being emotionally overloaded. Them saying, you know, this always happens to me, it's a recurring life theme, that kind of thing is a cause for concern for me and would definitely indicate trauma. And I would hope that everybody, you know, members of the public, anybody is now starting to be aware of signs of depression and that people are really desperate and lonely at times, so that we can, you know, actually signpost and help them rather than have a declining mental health problem.
So they've come in, they're drawing, they're talking with yourselves. Do you ever think actually you now need to speak to somebody else? I mean, where does it go from there?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Drawing and talking is about me providing the safe space for them to process. I don't always know what they're processing. And actually, I don't need to. The point is that they do it. So some clients don't draw. Some clients don't talk. But if I've asked the question and they've thought about it, whether they've verbalised it or not, they're still processing it, and they will continue to process between sessions with me and after the sessions are finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many sessions do people on average need?
So it's a 12-week programme, and it is 12 weeks because it's an attachment-based programme. So it's a relationship that we have a planned ending, which isn't always the case when they're coming to you for a relationship breakdown. Nobody planned this ending. Right from the beginning, they know that at the end of week 12, that's it. I'm not going to offer them extra sessions. There's no extra money I can take from them. At that point, they know and they can go. Some do then go on to have different types of counselling and CBT and whatever. Right. And it's almost been like the gentle stepping stone for them accepting that actually therapy can help.
Yeah. So timing's really important here. Would you say it's all about being quite early on in the process?
Yeah. I think if we look at it from, if you imagine a broken leg or a heart attack, would you wait before you dealt with it? Mental health should be treated in the same way. So if time, money, headspace allows, deal with the trauma as early as possible. I suppose it may even be pragmatic to do the trauma first to lighten the load, clear your head, ready to do the legal stuff afterwards.
Yes. And then you're maybe in a better headspace to be able to make such important decisions for the family.
And also time may have allowed some of the tension between parties to have subsided a little bit, which then makes conversations run smoother, hopefully.
Yeah. So what would your advice be to parents then, who they're in a contact or custody dispute, child arrangements as they're known now, and they're experiencing emotional distress? I suppose the children are as well. What would your advice be to them?
Firstly, it is an emotionally charged situation. You're quite within your rights to feel distressed. That's normal. So don't beat yourself up about that to start with. It's emotional. It's hard. Nobody ever visioned that this would be happening when you were planning your family. Okay. But as an adult, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you can seek help from lots of different places, podcasts, websites, charities, therapists. There are lots of people out there who can provide support for you. Just recapping on the fact that children hear and see what you don't want as well as what you do. And age-relevant open discussions with the children can make them feel part of the process rather than done to, which reduces the amount of trauma we're actually making. So that's quite important. Therapy for children during the process can be really beneficial because it's a constant and the attachment theory is there. I've recently had the privilege of working with a couple of siblings who at the beginning, week 1, did not know that their family was about to explode and split up. By week 12, one parent had moved out. I had been the constant throughout that time. And they seemed to move through it fairly unscathed because they'd got that constant during that period.
And do you think it helps that it's not someone at the school and it's not someone in the family?
Definitely helps when it's not somebody in the family because with the best will in the world, families will take sides and have opinions. So from that point of view, I know nothing. Quite often when I work with children, I don't even know why they've been referred to me necessarily, especially in schools. I only need to know that they need me. And what comes out, comes out.
And you're not part of the school system either, which children sometimes just want to have that separation. Education's hard at the best of times, isn't it?
It is. And I think also, I'm quite a regular in one school. I'm in 2 days a week usually. So I am a bit of a fixture and fitting, and some of them are quite shocked that I don't work for the school. But the beauty of having an outsourced provider come in and do it who's on the outside is that I don't get dragged off into other dramas in the school, which means I can honour that commitment of turning up every week purely for them.
Because they need to know that you're going to be there.
The attachment theory.
Yes. Yeah. Because I suppose they're feeling let down by other people who were supposed to be there every day. And you're saying, actually, I am going to be there and you need me to.
Yeah.
So that must make a huge impact on them.
It does. And if I can't make it, if I'm poorly, I actually send a little postcard into school via email so that the children get a little card to say, I haven't forgotten you.
Yeah.
And I'll be back next week. Because that's really important that trust isn't broken.
Are there any coping strategies that I might be able to give to my clients to help them navigate these traumatic experiences?
Yeah, I mean, with what I do, the technique I do, we don't actually give coping strategies as such. However, with my trauma-informed experience and my own experience, I would suggest a couple of things. So the first thing is take a time out. So walk away from heated or violent situations. Give yourself time to think.
Yeah.
And breathe and diffuse the situation, because actually the arguments aren't worth your energy. It's too consuming. Then give yourself time out to do things that you love. So things that will give you peace, whether that be mindfulness, colouring, whether it be going out in nature, going for a swim, your favourite music, watching TV, whatever it is that gives you calm and peace, even if it's just for a moment, just to reset yourself. Reconnect is really important. You're losing a relationship here. So reconnecting with some of your other relationships that you may have let slide. You know, those trusted people, your friends and family, reconnect, build new relationships, get them nice and strong. And my final thing would be to practice gratitude wherever possible. Just find one little thing each day that you're grateful for. And then when you're having a really bad day, get the list out and have a look.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I think we should all take that on board, actually.
It's
hard,
can
isn't it,
be.
when you're juggling everything.
Absolutely. You know, and if you're creative, make a lovely jar to put it in and things like that. You can build your hobby into it, do it however you want. People do mood boards of them and all sorts of things. It doesn't matter as long as you do it, because when you go to sleep at night, if you found that one good thing for the day, you're going to sleep with a good thought in your head. Rather than a bad one.
It's hard to sometimes see that, though, isn't it? Amongst all the negativity and everything else that you're doing.
Yeah.
So how can we as lawyers then become more informed, become more trauma informed?
I suppose the obvious answer is have a one-to-one with me.
Yeah. There you go, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the obvious answer. But there are lots of podcasts, websites, social media posts that all promote trauma-informed theory and things like that. So there's lots of research people can do here and there just to be a little bit aware. But I guess my thing that I would say to remember is that trauma and the breakdown that kind of comes when things get too much is rarely the current or the most recent event.
Okay.
It's usually something that has happened before, or lots of things that have happened before. Yes, what's happening now is the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
But we've now got too much to carry. And that's why having therapy helps, because you delve back further.
Yeah. You have to be quite brave, though, don't you, to go on that journey?
Absolutely.
It takes a lot of energy.
Absolutely, yeah.
To go through everything.
And that's one thing I say in schools, you know, do not say a child can't come because they've misbehaved in the morning. This isn't a treat. This is hard work.
Yeah, but it's worth it.
Absolutely.
To get back on track.
Yeah.
So what's the one piece of advice, if I can give one piece of advice then to somebody going through this?
Okay.
Which I know is difficult.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm not specifically trained, so if I can give one advice.
Lean on your positive relationships. Okay. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Humans aren't designed to be islands. We need connection. And like I said earlier, you're already losing one relationship that's been a big part of your life.
Yes.
So lean in on the positive ones that you have left and make the most of those people.
Yeah.
Because doing it alone is just so much harder.
Okay. And how do people get in contact with you then?
Okay, so I'm on Facebook and Instagram, Trauma Therapy by Trish. LinkedIn, Trauma Therapy by Trish Coventry. My website, traumatherapybytrish.co.uk. I'm trying to keep this nice and simple. Or you can email me direct, which is support@traumatherapybytrish.co.uk. And I'm quite happy to, I always offer free consultations. So I don't charge to find out if it's the right thing for you. If you can't afford it or it's not right for you, I signpost to free things that are available locally. Go and pet a dog as well. Pet therapy is great. Anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Trish.
Thank you.